All right, once you finish this chapter, I want you to have a real sense of accomplishment, which is why we're going to create a real world project from the very beginning to the very end. We're going to start with this horse right here, and we're going to add the wings from this crane in order to create the silhouette of a Pegasus. Now, there's a couple of things I want you to know about these files. First of all, I'm making all three of these files, absolutely three, to any of you who are members of lynda.com. So in other words, you don't have to be a premium member to download these three files. And the reason I'm doing that is I really want everyone to be able to work along with me, especially if you're new to Photoshop. Secondly, both of these base photographs, the horse and the crane, come to us from the Fotolia image library, about which you can learn more and get deals at fotolia.com/geek. All right, in this movie, I'm going to introduce you to the Layers panel. Now, if you don't see the panel on screen, then you want to go up to the window menu and choose the Layers command. Notice it has a keyboard shortcut of F7. Now, in my case, the Layers command has a check mark in front of it, which means that if I choose the command, I'm actually going to hide the Layers panel along with all the panels that are docked along with it. And in my case, that's just going to stretch the heck out of the color panel. But all you have to do to bring the Layers panel back is return to the window menu and choose the Layers command once again. And there it is. And incidentally, if you find that the color panel is taking up too much room on screen and you're barely able to see the Layers panel, then you can just drag that horizontal bar between the two in order to give the Layers panel more room. Now, if you're new to Photoshop, one of the best ways to come to terms with the Layers panel is to take a look at somebody else's layer document and then basically turn a few layers on and off in order to get a sense for what kind of contribution they make. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this movie. Now notice that I can scroll up and down the list by dragging the scroll bar on the right-hand side of the panel, or if my cursor is hovered over the Layers panel, as mine is, then I can go ahead and use the scroll wheel on my mouse. All right, now notice this column of eye icons to the left of the column of layers. These allow you to turn layers on and off. So if I click on the eye in front of the horse layer, I'll turn that layer off, and as a result, we're going to see quite a mess here inside the image window. To bring that horse layer back, just click where the eye used to be in order to make it visible. You also have the option of hiding everything but one layer, and you do that by Alt-clicking on the PC or Option-clicking on the Mac. And the reason it's an Alt-click is that the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac frequently reverses the behavior of a certain function inside Photoshop. So for example, if I Alt-click on the eye in front of the horse layer, I'll see that layer and nothing more, and notice the eyes have disappeared in front of all the other layers. To bring those layers back, all you have to do is Alt or Option click on that eye once again. And now I've made all the layers visible. All right, so let's use these eyeballs to see how this composition is put together. I'll Alt-click or Option-click in front of the horse layer, and notice that we've got this image of the horse, as well as a bunch of checkerboard transparency above it. To fill in that transparency, I created a white background. So as evidenced by this thumbnail here, the background is entirely white. Then I'll go ahead and scroll to the top here. I've got this layer called B&W. If I turn it on, you can see that it makes the horse black and white. And in fact, this layer right here makes all of the layers below it black and white. And this powerful feature is what's known as an adjustment layer here inside Photoshop. All right, now I'm going to scroll back down to the bottom. I've got this other adjustment layer, it's a very different one, called Dark Contrast, and if I turn it on, you can see that it makes most of the horse black and white, with the notable exception of the animal's hooves, which is why I have the brushwork layer to fill the hooves with black. Next, I've got this wing number 1 layer right there, and I'll go ahead and press Control-0 or Command-0 on the Mac to zoom back out. And as you can see, this wing layer is darkening everything below it. Now, of course, I wanted to convert it to black and white as well, which is the function of this light contrast layer right there. And to get rid of the extra wing action, I've got this layer called Paint Away, which temporarily erases that extra information. All right, now I'm going to scroll up the list, and you can see we have just a few more layers. One of them is wing number 2, which is this little bit of wing right there, and it is masked, incidentally. If I were to shift-click on this mask icon right there, then I would turn it off, and you can see I now have an X through it, which allows you to see that this layer is actually a rotated version of that same crane. To reassign the mask, you again shift-click on that black and white thumbnail like so. All right, now I want it to be black and white as well, which is the function of this light contrast layer. And then finally, I have this little bit of extra wing in this location right there. Now you can see that there's one more layer at the top here that's turned off. It's called Tester, and it's really just a test layer. It allows me to see that I've gotten everything black and white. You can turn it on if you want to, but as evidence, if I zoom in, that gives us some very jagged transitions, which is why when everything is said and done, we're going to leave that layer off. And that, friends, is how you turn layers on and off inside the Layers panel in order to get a sense for how a layered composition works.